am Esther Robart from Eagle Heights Christian School, and I will be presenting The Last Leaf, adapted from O. Henry's original. At the top of a squatty, 3-story brick house, Sue and Johnsy had their studio. One November, a cold, unseen stranger, whom the doctors called pneumonia, stalked about the colony, touching one here and there with his icy fingers. And Johnsy, her blood thinned by her California youth, he smote, and she lay, scarcely moving, looking through the small window at the blank side of the next brick house. One morning, the doctor invited Sue into the hallway with a shaggy, gray eyebrow.
She has one chance in, let us say 10, and that chance is for her to want to live. Your little lady has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. Has she anything on her mind?
She wanted to paint the Bay of Naples someday.
Paint? Bosh. Has she anything on her mind worth thinking about twice? A man, for example?
A man? Is a man worth... But no, doctor, there is nothing of the kind.
Well, it is the weakness then. Well, it is the weakness then. I will do all that science can accomplish, but whenever my patient begins to count the carriages in her funeral procession, I subtract 50% from the curative power of medicines. If you will get her to ask one question about the new winter styles in cloak sleeves, I will promise you a 1 in 5 chance for her, instead of a 1 in 10.
After the doctor had gone, Sue went into the workroom and cried a Japanese napkin to a pulp. Then she swaggered into Johnsy's room, whistling ragtime. Johnsy lay, scarcely making a ripple under the bedclothes, with her face toward the window. Sue stopped whistling, thinking she was asleep. She heard a low sound, several times repeated, and went quickly to the bedside. Johnsy's eyes were open wide. She was looking toward the window and counting backward. 8, 7. Sue looked solicitously out the window. What was there to count? An old ivy vine, gnarled and decayed at the roots, climbed halfway up the side of the brick house. Its skeleton branches clung, almost bare, to the crumbling bricks. What is it, dear? 6. They're falling faster now. 3 days ago, there were almost 100. It made my head ache to count. But now it's easy. There goes another one. There are only 5 left now. 5 what, dear? Tell your Sudie. Leaves on the ivy vine. When the last one falls, I must go too. I've known that for 3 days now. Didn't the doctor tell you? Oh, I've never heard of such nonsense. What have old ivy leaves got to do with your getting well? And you used to love that vine so. Don't be a goosey. Why, the doctor told me this morning that your chances for getting well real soon were... Let's see exactly what he said. He said the chances were 10 to 1. There goes another one. That leaves just 4. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I'll go too. Johnsy, dear, will you promise me to keep your eyes closed and not look out the window until I am done working? I need the light, or I would draw the shade down. Couldn't you draw in the other room? I'd rather be here with you. Besides, I don't want you to keep looking at those silly ivy leaves. Tell me as soon as you are finished, because I want to see the last one fall. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of thinking. I want to turn loose my hold on everything and go sailing down, down, just like one of those poor, tired leaves. Try to sleep. I must call Berman up to be my model. I'll not be gone a minute. Try not to move until I get back. Old Berman was a painter who lived on the ground floor beneath them. Berman was a failure in art. He had always been about to paint a masterpiece, but had never yet begun it. He was a fierce little old man who scoffed terribly at softness in anyone and regarded himself as a special mastiff in waiting to protect the 2 young artists in the studio above. Sue found Bermond in his dimly lighted den below and told him of Johnsy's fancy.
Was? Is there people in the world with their foolishness to die because leaves they drop from a confounded vine? I have not heard of such a thing. No, I will not pose as a model. Why do you allow that silly plant to come in that brain of hers? Oh, that poor little Miss Jonesy.
She is very ill and weak, and the fever has left her mind morbid and full of strange fancies. Very well, Mr. Bermond. If you do not care to pose for me, you need it. But I think you are a horrid
Old flibberty-gibbet! Ah, you are just like a woman. Who said I will not pose? Go on, I commit you. For half an hour I have been trying to tell you that I am ready to pose. This is not any place in which one so good as Miss Jonesy shall lie sick. Someday I will paint a masterpiece, and we shall all go away. You will see. You will all see.
When Sue awoke the next morning, she found Johnsy with dull, wide-open eyes, staring at the drawn green shade. Pull it up. I want to see. Wearily, Sue obeyed. But lo, after the beating rain and fierce gusts of wind that had endured through the livelong night, there yet stood out against the wall one single ivy leaf. Still dark green near its stem, but with its serrated edges tinted with the yellow of dissolution and decay, it hung bravely from a branch some 20 feet above the ground. It is the last leaf. I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind. It will fall today, and I shall die at the same time. Dear, dear, think of me if you won't think of yourself. What would I do? But Johnsy did not answer. The lonesomest thing in all the world is a soul when it is making ready to go on its mysterious, far journey. The day wore away, and even through the twilight, they could see the lone ivy leaf still clinging to its stem against the wall. With the coming of the night, the north wind was again loosed, while the rain still beat against the windows and pattered down from the low Dutch eaves. When it was light enough, Johnsy the merciless commanded that the shade be raised. The ivy leaf was still there. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at it. Then she called to Sue. I've been a bad girl, Sudie. Something has made that last leaf stay there to show me how wicked I was. It is a sin to want to die. An hour later, she said, Sudie, someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples. The doctor came in the afternoon, and Sue had an excuse to go into the hallway as he left.
She's out of danger. You've won. Nutrition and care now. That's all. And now I must see to another case I have downstairs. Bermond, his name is. Some kind of an artist, I think. He is an old, weak man, and the attack is acute. There is no hope for him.
The next afternoon, Sue came to the bed where Johnsy lay, knitting. I have something to tell you, Johnsy, dear. Mr. Bermond died of pneumonia today in the hospital. He was ill only 2 days. The janitor found him on the morning of the first day in his room downstairs. His shoes and clothing were wet through and icy cold. They couldn't imagine where he had been on such a dreadful night. And then they found a lantern, still lighted, and a ladder that had been dragged from its place, and some scattered brushes, and a palette with green and yellow paints on it, and look out the window, dear, at the last ivy leaf on the wall. Didn't you wonder why it never fluttered or moved when the wind blew? Oh, darling, it's Bermond's masterpiece. He painted it there the night the last leaf fell.